I'm here with Pittsfield 4th of July Parade Committee President Peter Marchetti. The Pittsfield Parade has a real long history, and it's the biggest one. It's been noted nationally for how it brings everybody together. This year we had a threat to it. The fundraising was really down, and there was a huge community effort to keep this treasured parade going. And in the end, we're going to have one next year. So we just kind of want to recap, what happened. And so, Peter, can you tell me what was the situation this year?
So this year's situation really has been something we've been talking about for 5 years. Mm-hmm. For the last 5 years, we've been saying that fundraising has not met the levels that we've been looking for in order to do the parade. And so we've been tapping into the reserves. Mm-hmm. You kind of face the banker in me says, if you only raise $65,000, you can only put on a $65,000 parade. Mm-hmm. The other part of me says, well, if you only raise $65,000, but you have reserves in the bank, you can tap on the reserves. We were in a pretty down economic time, mm-hmm. and so maybe things would kind of turn around. And so we were using the reserves over the last 5 years, and we kind of have been sounding the alarm mm-hmm. over the last 5 years. And it's funny, you used the word threat. Mm-hmm. I was trying to be very careful to not make it a threat, to mm-hmm. say, hey, if you don't do this, then these are the repercussions. And it was more, how can we make it a rally cry for the mm-hmm. community to come together and save an event that I think, mm-hmm. and now I think I know, is a treasured event for most of Pittsfield and Berkshire County and beyond. Mm-hmm. And so, we kind of put the message out there that if we have the same fundraising year this year that we've had in the previous years, that money plus the reserves would put us at $0. Mm-hmm. And the efforts of trying to do a 2020 parade would not be feasible for us. Mm-hmm.
No, you said you didn't want to make it a threat, and obviously it's going to come across, a lot of people are going to get scared of that. So what was that decision to actually kind of come out and make this a real rally cry? I mean, how hard was that to make?
Well, it was tough because, in anything you do in the community, mm-hmm. The way that you say it and the way it's perceived, mm-hmm. And you probably know better than I, with all of your journalistic background, that you may write a story mm-hmm. thinking that you're fair and impartial and just putting the facts out there, mm-hmm. but you're going to have one side that says, oh no, you were so twisted here, mm-hmm. and one side that was so twisted here. We just tried to put the information out there to say, mm-hmm. If this is something that you folks really want to see continue, mm-hmm. we need your help. And ironically, within 24 to 36 hours of the information being released and all of the various stories that were out there, the community was coming together and putting together pasta dinners mm-hmm. with dancing to follow. There was Rock the Fourth that was put together that really came out of non-parade committee people. Mm-hmm. These were just people that wanted to come together and put the parade together. We had a gentleman come in early on mm-hmm. And asked me some questions about the parade and, are you tired of doing it? Is that why you're mm-hmm. giving up? What's going on? And my answer was, if we can raise the money, we'll do it. And he turned and went, I have two conditions. One, you continue doing it, and two, I remain anonymous, but I pledged $20,000.
Oh, wow.
And that was kind of like an eye-opener to mm-hmm. me of, okay, how do we do this? And of course, that information remained, confidential until mm-hmm. July 4th because, one donation and although it was very significant, mm-hmm. doesn't put us over the edge. Mm-hmm. What was, very exciting, we saw the community, we saw Senator Hines really behind and ask mm-hmm. for a state appropriation in the budget under economic development mm-hmm. For the parade. We put ourselves back in a place mm-hmm. where all of the money for the 2020 parade mm-hmm. was raised along with all the money for the 19 parade mm-hmm. in one fundraising year. And so when we kick off the fundraising plan for mm-hmm. 2020, it's really going to be, we're raising funds for 2021, mm-hmm. and we're going to spend, the first 6 months of parade planning for 2020, really doing two things. One, planning the parade, but two, how do we get ourselves in a place where we're never in that spot of, if you don't help us, we will die. And so, long-term sustainability is going to be our game plan for end of 2019 and beginning of 2020.
Now, I think a lot of people sort of, over the years, they just kind of got used to the parade. They'll go and they'll do it, and I don't think they really realize what happens behind the scene. So can you just give me, how much does one of these parades cost, and what does that money go for? So
it depends on what we've done. We've had parades that have cost $80,000, and we've had parades that have cost about $65,000. So there are, and the easiest way to explain it, there are three major pieces. First and foremost is the music. And so we set a music budget of $30,000. I know everybody thinks that all the musical units come to Pittsfield for free. That is not the case. And people ask, well, why do you have to pay them? Well, if you're bringing in a drum corps from Long Island, they need to rent buses, they have their equipment trucks, they have all their equipment, and it costs them money to be, traveling.
They're trained professionals.
Right.
I mean, that's what they do for a living. So
it costs them money to be here. They have to worry about how long they're going to be on the road, how many meals they need to take. We have, which people probably don't realize, but we have more times than I can count, put drum corps up in a school gymnasium, and that was their hotel room for the night. They slept on the gym floor, and they used the showers in the school. That's their accommodations. But if you have a corps of 100 plus people, and you're feeding them breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they just didn't come to Pittsfield. They've, made a tour of it. So music, on average, is about $30,000. Balloons is about $20,000 for four giant helium balloons. That gets us the balloon. That gets us the helium, and the balloon company travels to Pittsfield with four of their trained staff to work with our volunteers to get the balloons blown up, teach the people how to maneuver the balloons so that they can get them under the wires and under the street lights, and not pop them.
I was going to chime in because you did tell me earlier.
Right.
That, you did pop one once.
And not pop them. In the 18 plus years I've been doing this, I've only known of one balloon that didn't make it. And so, there's two that, between the two, are close to $50,000. And on top of that, we need to supply rooms for the balloon company, for their staff. And then, the third biggest thing that we have is our program booklet that we put out each year that runs between $10,000 and $11,000. So three things puts the parade at $61,000. And people will say, well, why do you need that booklet? I'm not sure I need the booklet, but the booklet is where all the ads from all of the sponsors go. So if we took that away, what do you have to entice folks to
for the sponsors
to sponsor the parade?
All right, and where does all that funding come from? Because I think a lot of people think that the city just pays of all this. But this is obviously a fundraising, and it's a parade committee that's separate. So where does this money come from? So
the money comes in a variety of places. We have an oldie show each year. The Oldies But Goodies gang puts on a show for us at a local high school. It's a weekend-long event. Usually raises between $10,000 and $15,000. They're all volunteers helping us raise money. We have a parade drive each year to raise money, and we solicit local business sponsorship. So we've had, prior to this year, three main ways of raising money that just haven't met our goals. And so this year we added some additional fundraising events. But the city provides some in-kind services. Other than that, there's no financial support whatsoever from the city for the parade.
And the state funding you got this year, that was a one-time thing. I don't remember that happening before.
It's never happened before. And I've been told to ask for it again because you'd be amazed at the number of requests that come in. I would have never even thought to ask for it.
Right.
So, we commend Senator Hines for doing that, and we'll work with him in the future to see if we can make it happen again.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. Just interesting story about how this is a gem for the city of Pittsfield, and it has been since 1812. That's
1812,
the history.
right.
That's the history to it. And so this community really came together to make sure that this longstanding tradition continues. So thank you very much for coming on and telling me about it.
Thank you.
So.